compared to the heel and to the other side is all so different.
Yeah. We have to make money also. This guy knows rubber so much. Yeah. His father was working with rubber before he started this business. So he knows. So that's where you start to bodyboard, or
Yeah,
start your maneuvers?
Yeah, so this is kind of, for me, where a lot of my progressive bodyboarding happened. This spot is kind of, for me, it was far away, hard to get to. Usually no one around here. And especially back in the 70s and early 80s, so empty, you know. So come down here and just, the wave is kind of a small little wave. Today's not the best day for it. It's usually better on a different direction swell. But it's got a lot of power, so you can do all these different things that you can imagine doing, like rollos. So some of the very first moves I've ever done, like rollos, before I saw anyone do them, I did them here. Rolls, roller takeoffs. After going to Sandy Beach for the first contest, I saw guys doing spinners, so I had to learn and come out here and practice. So this for me, this is where a lot of progressive bodyboarding was started. You know, this is like the early development of I guess progressive bodyboarding right here. And not too far from here, the first bodyboard, you know, was taken out and ridden. So it's these reefs in Kona that are kind of the very first spark of bodyboarding. You know, it started here, starting these moves.
Tell me about that story you told me. Like Tom Murray was there, and then
yeah. So Tom's R&D center that I used to work at was not far from here. It's like, you know, maybe less than a mile away. And so I test boards out here a lot. Like this is where a lot of the first slick bottom boards, the first, you know, we had different shape boards. And this was before Mach 7, you know, which was the first board in production. But he had other boards that he had made with slick bottoms, and I would test them out here. So this is a lot of the early development from right here.
Nice.
Yeah, and he'd take his, he was working on flying craft at the time, and this is an old airport, so he'd come down here and we'd all, you know, take off work and come down and help him, and he'd try to make runs to try to see if we could get some lift and stuff.
So this is what was 75, 70?
Late 70s, 78, 79. I started surfing here probably in 76, 75, 76, 76.
So you start surfing here on body surf or?
Bodyboard.
Bodyboard,
yeah,
already.
But also body surf. The first contest I ever entered is at another break called White Sands. That's the break I was telling you about earlier.
So your first experience in the ocean was with a bodyboard?
Yeah, my first experience I think was body surfing, quite young. But I'm trying to think. I also had because I used to live on Oahu, and so I also had really early experiences with just a surfboard. You know, like a guy pushing me in on the surfboard in Waikiki. You know, really, like this was like, I don't know, I must have been really young, maybe like 4 or 5, and then I would go to the east side on Oahu and ride just the smallest little waves. So the first wave riding experiences were probably on Oahu for me. But when I was about 14, I moved to the Big Island, and that's when, you know, you start to grow and you start to realize the world's around you, and try to, like, that's when the hook really got, you know, settled into me. And this was a good break for me, you know, because my parents had split up, and I was kind of wandering through life. You know, my mom was just doing whatever she could do to kind of make ends meet, and she was the guiding force in our lives. But there was a lot of free time, you know, a lot of time alone, and had it not been for waves, surfing, I probably would have been doing something really bad, you know, like getting into drugs or something, you know, really unproductive. So for me, the ocean has been an incredible savior in a lot of ways, you know. Yeah, I mean, I'm still growing, I think, as a bodyboarder and as a wave rider and as a human still, you know.
That's why I want to hear.
Yeah.
You're still growing, so
yeah, for sure.
We can hope see Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
bigger
not,
and
I hope so. You know, I think I worry now about like a lot of the airs, like big airs. Big lip moves are, you gotta be so technical about it. You know, you can't just go reckless because you can really get messed up. You know, last year I think it finally caught up to me, and I had a slat tear, which is my labrum, peeled off of my bone, and so I had to get it stitched back on, and so I was out of the water for 3 months. So no ocean surfing, nothing for 3 months was crazy.
This is the bad thing.
Yeah, it's a bad thing. And so, but I came back, the day I came back, I was in the holding period of Chopo, and I did pretty good there, you know, I almost made it to the final. So that was cool. So it's not just a little, you know, sometimes you got to take a step back and take some steps forward. But yeah, just being conscious of that, and, you know, I don't want to surf conservative, but at the same time, I want to keep going. So it feels like I've been pacing myself, you know. Like last year on tour, I hadn't really gone too crazy with a lot of things I probably should have and could have, but I'm still going, you know. I finished well last year.
Nice, still going.
Like any artifacts from that time. Yeah, so this location right here is actually my first job. I came here when I was about 16 or 17. I heard that Tom Mori lived in Kona, where I was so passionate about bodyboarding. And then I heard he used to work in this building. This was his R&D center. So I sought out him. I found him. He was here, and I asked for a job, anything, you know, just to kind of get it. To try to, yeah, just to get close to what he was doing, because he was so forward thinking and so far out. And so this is where I worked. It was the only job I ever in my life had a time card. So I'd go in the morning, I'd check in, and then or in the afternoon, because usually after school, and then afterwards I'd clock out. Sometimes he'd take me surfing. Sometimes we'd just cruise. But it was a pretty phenomenal place for me to work, and it was a real catalyst for me. I saw some amazing stuff in here. You know, one time I came to work and I saw a bodyboard, and I looked at it, and the bottom of it was super slick, like it was fiberglass. You know, I'm like, wow, this is real pretty. And I went to touch it, and it was soft, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? A soft, slick surface. Like it was phenomenal. And that was the first slick bottom board. You know, the very first slick boards were done right here in this building. In the upstairs, sometimes I'd come to work, he'd be in his underwear, just his underwear, playing drums, because he's a jazz drummer and he goes at it. So I'd show up, he'd be in his underwear playing drums. I'm like, what's up, Tom? And then whatever, do whatever, you know. But first coil leashes, I made, you know, we in here we made the first coil leashes that were ever made, just by heat. And there's a technique of tying them and all this stuff. And there's another guy that was working here, this guy Clancy. So I was working, did that, and I made some of my first boards that I ever made. You know, I had some crazy ideas, and so I would draw him out. Tom, what do you think? He's all, yeah, go for it. And so he had all the cool materials, you know, all these castable urethanes, all these like different types of plastics that you could paint the board with. So we started with EVA boards. We made all these exotic boards. Even to this day, they're really quite advanced. So yeah, it was for me. It was a complete blessing. You know, and I could only describe it like kind of like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, because for me as a bodyboarder, it was like that was the domain of the creation, you know, and this is where it all was happening. All this new technology, all this new materials, new shapes, all these ideas, air lubricated hulls, all this stuff was going on right here. I was always interested in how things work. Like when I was young, I would take apart TVs and just take stuff apart and learn. And it's something that I kind of instill in my son as well. Like I want him to understand how things work. And it just kind of helps your mind and curiosity and how things can be built. And so back then I was always looking at how to improve things and how things work. It's just my nature. I'm really interested and curious by nature. And so when I came here, it was like that, but in wave riding and the various projects that he was working in. So it was the universe of wave riding and at the forefront of development and creativity. I mean, he did things back then. He did things back then that are even to this day not even being done. So that's 40 years ago.
This is the first step of Mike Stewart.
Yeah, the first,
right
I'd say this is the first step of bodyboarding product and bodyboarding innovation and kind of the catalyst of what made me start. And what's interesting is it's just a building. You look at it now, it's like there's nothing here, so it's all a matter of the time and how it all came into existence.
It's like a what? It's like a candy for him. Big baby. You guys produce all your food here, or
Not all of it, but we produce some of it. Like I'll process chickens here.
you look at me, huh? So you have all the salad as well?
Yeah, we got
Tomato.
some. Our garden is totally overgrown right now because I haven't tended to it recently. And but man, there's so much organic produce over here. It's like easy just to get it.
Has an old Mori too. You need help to get?
This is pretty cool. This board. I made this at Mori's. Remember the place we showed you?
Yes.
Check this out. Get a better view of it. And this is the first one, and then I made this one after I learned from this one. This one was like another variation. So this
the water.
It's for the air. It's like the air is trying to get the air under here.
No way!
Yeah.
It's like a
Air lubricated.
the air goes here and then
yeah.
goes down.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's just an
Works?
idea. Yeah, it works actually. Yeah. This is getting a little old.
This is so nice, man.
I don't know about so nice, but I gotta clean them up. But these are the boards I made in that place that I showed you guys yesterday. This is like, for me, this is like one of the more revolutionary boards at the time, because up until this time it was really just soft boards. There's no stiffness and no slick surface. So this is like had both, had a lot more. This is a lot stronger. I mean, I feel it now. I'm just going, oh my gosh, it's so soft. But for back then, it was like, wow, it's stiff. Should probably see they're getting all molded and kind of thrashed over here.
40 years, huh?
These are like 40 years old.
Cool.
Close to 40 years. Did you see the one I made, the Pro Plug?
No.
Yeah, it's a cool little plug for bodyboards.
So
Kind
this
of
is
that mount, but it's real small and it's narrow.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I saw that. So this was your first sponsor?
Yeah, this is it. Michael McMichael and Simi.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is Loki over here. Loki's their daughter. And Loki, are you still doing triathlons and stuff?
No, not.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. just this shop. How long have you guys been in business? It's been a while for how long from? 40.
About 40 years now.
Yeah.
Since you were little.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come,
Oh no.
please.
Like, went to Mexico.
So when you become a member of the team here,
She was like a little baby.
little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's my picture. See,
No
we have
way.
lots of the old
Yeah.
shop.
But you remember him?
Yeah, but you were a little older than.
Yeah, yeah,
But he was a kid too. Yeah. So my parents knew you well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Both her and her brother were still just like little kids, man. I just remember. And yeah, their parents, Michael.
So I found
Yeah.
science. Good,
Yeah,
huh?
science has a way of finding the good shops.
Who's this?
That's me and Pipeline.
Oh my
I
God.
consider that the Andy Irons well. This is when Andy Irons was having a funeral. So most of the guys were converged to Kauai. And
Really?
I had my own services out here. No one's done what we're doing. No one has filmed me there, has filmed me at the warehouse. People have seen this, but
Thanks.
you're the only guy. Yeah. It's got to be another bodyboarder who does this. You know? So this is pretty cool shit.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, sorry, are we recording?
Always.
Okay, so yeah, so July 1972, there was a house here previously, and this is where it all started for bodyboarding, right at this reef right here, right at this break. And Tom Morey was in the garage here. He had some packaging foam, some polyethylene packaging foam. And he saw that there's a little south swell out here, and as you can tell, if you pan out here, you'll be able to see the wave's quite shallow. So he needed something that he could ride the break with. And so he had the piece of foam, you know, and just out of pure like necessity, shaped this thing up. And at that point, he was working on some various designs, and so everything just clicked, and it wasn't like there's a lot of thought in it. He just did what he thought was the right thing, which was making basically a surfboard without the nose and the tail, and shaped it up and took it out here and rode the first soft modern bodyboard. So this is the very place that happened.
That's so unreal.
It's crazy, huh, to think about it.
And what do you think now? Bodyboard gets so much heavy waves now. Do you believe this on the past? Like,
yeah, it's cool to see, you know. I think, you know, I have a pretty good imagination, so I could imagine like that it could go far. It's cool to see that things are kind of coming to fruition. And I mean, I still think surfing in general has got a long way to go, especially in more heavy technical waves. So, you know, where bodyboards kind of led the charge in thick, hollow waves and actually created a vocabulary, like a jargon that's all based around like slabs, pits, trenches. All that originated in bodyboarding. That was all terminology that we used to describe the waves we were surfing. And now that surfing on a hardboard is starting to kind of gravitate to those types of conditions, that's becoming common terminology, common verbiage in wave riding.
how big is your board now?
I ride 42-inch boards.
42?
Yeah.
Before too?
Yeah, well, before actually it was like 43s, you know, whatever they made I would ride, and I was smaller and lighter. So it'd be equivalent to me riding maybe like a 44 now or something. So, but yeah, I've tried all kinds of different shapes, and I like a 42 with the right amount of flex, and the flex work with the curvature to create a system that works in a variety of conditions. And I think one of the important things is to be able to have a board that is, you can ride it on all kinds of different, you can do what you think in your mind, you can apply it to the wave. So you can be able to do something and retain energy off a flat section or hold in a real hollow section. You want something that's at least I do, I want something that's universal, that I can apply it to all the conditions.
So we're going to north now.
Yeah, now we're headed east.
east?
North is this way.
Okay.
So we're gonna go east, and basically we gotta go like that. We're going that way. We're ending up down there.
How's the waves on this side of the island?
Yeah. So from this point all the way to Hilo, it's real cliffs. There's all cliffs. So this is like all sea cliffs. So it's not much happening from here to here. There's a couple little spots, you know, like Spencer Skipper. He grew up at a little wave that you'd be surprised. Like it's called Kole, and it's a funky little wave. It actually does get really good, but it's rare, and it's normally surfable, but not that good. And that's on the way to Hilo. That's actually right below the Kaka Falls, like the place that I was suggesting you guys go check out for the big waterfall.
Yes.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Such a beautiful place, man. No way. Oh my God.
So there's actually a pretty cool place up here to take a photo. It's small, guys. The waves are small.
No way.
So see this point here?
Yeah?
There's
No way.
Here, I'll come down more. There's a better spot to actually shoot it.
So let's jump in the water?
Let's do it. I mean, it's small, but we'll have fun.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's do it.